Hi Capricorn, welcome to Sweet Tea Astrology and Tarot. My name is Erica, welcome to the channel. I'm so glad that you found me. This is your Venus retrograde special video report where I will be speaking about the planet Venus, what it represents in our world, what a retrograde is and what it kind of looks like. And I will also be talking about the houses that this Venus retrograde will be, playing out in for you on a general level. Also, I will be pulling cards from my modified tarot deck where I pulled the major arcana and the aces of the suits. So the Ace of Cups, Wands, Pentacles, and Swords are in with the major arcana of this deck. And I've got 4 oracle decks that I'm also going to be pulling from. So let's talk about what's going on. Venus, the planet of love, beauty, harmony, money, and resources, is going retrograde in the sky from March 5th to April 14th. Retrograde is an optical illusion of the planet, whatever planet that's retrograde, is going backwards in the sky from our perspective here on Earth. Now, it just looks that way. It's an optical illusion. The best way I ever heard of a retrograde explained was the analogy of driving on the interstate. You get behind someone who is not going fast enough for you, so you get in the passing lane. That passing lane, you accelerate, and you catch up with the car, you accelerate some more, pardon me, and you end up getting past the car. You look in your rear view mirror, and after a while, the vehicle that you pass looks like it's going in reverse. They're not actually driving backwards. It's just an optical illusion based on the distance between your moving vehicle and their moving vehicle, and the optical illusion that plays out in your world. Now, this retrograde is going to be playing out between Aries and Pisces. Venus is in Aries right now in the pre-retrograde shadow period, and then we'll have the retrograde, and then there will be a post-retrograde. The pre-retrograde is kind of like the appetizer, if you will, and the post-retrograde is the palate cleanser or the clearing up, tying up of loose ends, if you will. So, this is the 4th house and the 3rd house that Venus will be transiting through. The 4th house is the house that's ruled by Cancer, traditionally, and it is the house of home and family, or roots and foundation. It is, home is where you live or where you consider home to be, and family is who you share that home with. And that can be your parents, your spouse, your partner, your children, your fur babies, your, house guests, housemates, or roommates. It can also speak to the roots like outside of your house, like possibly interfering with the plumbing, but also your internal roots like your bones or your teeth, or your internal like foundations, which would be like your philosophy or your tightly held beliefs. If we're speaking about the structure of the home, it can be the roof, the structure of the home, like the studs, or the plumbing internally. Externally, it could be the actual foundation of the home. A lot of ways that can play out in that 4th house. The 3rd house is the house that's ruled by Gemini, and that's the house that is the house of your short distance trips, siblings, cousins, and neighbors, and people in your neighborhood, the neighborhood at large. Communication is a pretty broad area, so let's break that down. It's how you speak, it's how people interpret you and how you interpret others. It's also how you digest and consume information. It is how you get your voice or message out into the world through your communication devices. And it is also your commute, your daily commute, the path that you take to get from point A to point B, and also the vehicle that you use. So Venus going back and forth through these houses is going to make you examine what you value in these areas of life. So, a really good thing for you to consider, or some things that you can do to manage this energy the best way that you can, is to focus on yourself when it comes right down to it. In any decision that you need to make, any plans that need to be made, anything like that, focus on yourself first, because anything else around you is seriously subject to change, no matter how concrete you feel as though they may be. it's best just to rely on yourself. That way, if anything does happen, your entire world isn't falling apart. There are some challenges associated with this Venus retrograde because Venus rules love and money, beauty, harmony, and resources as well. The challenge will come through the lens of either money or love, maybe a hybrid of that through a business partnership with a joint checking account or a love partnership with a joint checking account. The perks that come with this retrograde, usually with any retrograde, the prefix re is a good thing. Redo, redecorate, reconnect. The perks here are reconnection and renegotiations. I wouldn't do any redecorating during this period of time because your eye for beauty under a Venus retrograde will be different. Especially going through this 4th house, you may really want to redecorate, but I would abstain from it until Venus gets out of at least her retrograde. Let her go through the post-retrograde, and then you can start working on that decorating if you want to, because the eye for beauty is going to be different under the influence of a Venus retrograde. You're not going to like it as much, or you'll be like, what was I thinking? So, forewarned is forearmed. Now, the really good thing that you can do during this time period is assess what you value, and a good way to weigh that is by asking, is this worth fighting for? If it is the situation, person, or circumstance worth fighting for, then by all means roll your sleeves up and fight for it. But if it's after some reflection you've decided that it would only be worth fighting for if there were some repairs, do the repairs and then fight for it if it's worth it at that point. But also, it's a time for you to reflect, and if this person, situation, or circumstance is no longer worth fighting for, then it's an opportunity for you to release the situation, person, or circumstance with loving gratitude and thankful energy for the energy, lessons, and growth that it brought into your world, because everything that comes to us in life is either a lesson or a blessing. Alright, Capricorn. Like I said, I'm going to pull some cards for you from the Oracle cards decks, and this is one of those decks that I'm going to be using. The Butterfly Oracle card for Life Changes by Doreen Virtue. I like to use this when we are under the influence of a eclipse, and this Venus retrograde will most certainly be under the influence of both of the eclipses, to be completely honest, because we are already in Venus pre-retrograde shadow, that appetizer period. This is a Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle deck. I will also be pulling a card from this deck as well. I'll be pulling another card from the Journey of Love Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild. The artwork is by an artist named Razuli. And last but not least, I will be pulling a card from the Divine Circus Oracle by Elena Fairchild. And she commissioned a lot of different artists to do artwork for the cards. So I won't be able to give direct credit. Sorry, I had a brain fart. I wouldn't be able to give direct credit to each individual artist, but I do send thankful gratitude and loving energy to them for the hard work that they put into their craft, because it's a beautiful deck and it's fast becoming one of my favorites. As I said in the opening, Capricorn, I will be reading reversals. This is a modified deck again. Let me remind you. I'm going to do a 4-card spread for you. Bottom card representing the underlying theme or the overarching energy. Top 3 for clarity. Past, present, future if you want a time frame as well. I'll associate that with the cards in a moment. But while I'm shuffling, I want to take this time to say that for some of you, this reading may not resonate. And that's okay, because you're more than just a Capricorn. As a matter of fact, you have a little bit of each of the zodiac in you, believe it or not. Your natal chart has 12 houses in it, and each house is governed or ruled by a zodiac sign. And some houses are more energetically powerful than others, just depending on placements, etc., etc. But you won't know any of that unless you find out what your chart looks like. So I encourage you to Google the words free natal chart. generate a birth chart that shows where the planets were when you were born. That birth certificate that you're going to need close to you is going to have the information that you need to generate an accurate birth chart. That would have your birth date, your birthplace, and your birth time. And once you've generated that chart, you can pull up a YouTube tutorial or Google different free tutorials online for how to read your natal chart to find your moon and rising sign. If you've done all of that and you still can't figure it out, or you just want you want me to confirm that you've guessed it or figured it out, then you can send me a screenshot of that natal chart to sweettastro@gmail.com. Please make sure that you're generating a Western chart, because I've received a lot of Vedic charts, and I don't do Vedic astrology. I want to learn how, I just haven't learned how yet. I'm still studying Western astrology. So one day in the future, Vedic will be something that I look to, but for now I'm doing Western, and I don't want to give you the wrong information because I'm not proficient in the Vedic astrology. So send me a Western astrology chart and I will get you those placements as fast as I can. Understand that my email box is filling up rather quickly with a lot of people that are either asking for my help or for confirmation on them trying to decipher it themselves. It's a free service that I provide because I feel as though it's something that everybody needs to know about themselves. Not only so you can watch my videos that I put out for those different zodiac signs, but also you can watch other readers, and it just gives you a pretty good idea as to what's going on and how you react to certain situations. I've used my natal chart to not only learn astrology, but also predictive astrology, and I also use my chart as a tool for psychoanalysis, because after the fire I didn't have any health insurance, so the post-traumatic stress syndrome that I've been dealing with from my near-death experience has been one that I've done on my own, but I've learned a lot about myself through the lens of astrology and my chart. So I encourage you to do that if you haven't ever done it. If you do know where your planet placements and charts, all that stuff is, even better, I encourage you to check your chart and see where the Leo and Pisces houses are. You just had a card fall, so we're going to use that. You got a Lagniappe card. Lagniappe in Louisiana means a little something extra. But check out where Leo and Pisces are, because that's where the eclipses will be. And check out where Pisces and Aries is, because that's where Venus retrograde will be. The placements I give you is for Capricorn rising and Capricorn sun. So, bottom card to represent the underlying theme or the overarching energy for this reading, and the top 3 for clarity. Now, I don't want to mess up the placement. Let me get that right. Okay. From the Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle deck. And Zoe's at the corner of my bed chewing on a bone, so if you can hear her gnawing on that in the background, I'm sorry. At least she's happy. She's been trying to find a way to nudge her little tail feathers in here while I'm doing these videos. I'm trying to make the best use of my time between school and this and mom and me being a mom, and it's a lot to juggle. So she's not very happy with me right now. She's not liking that she's not getting the attention she believes that she deserves, which is every waking moment of my time. She truly feels like she is my baby, like I birthed her. And I know you animal people out there, animal lovers, know what I'm talking about. Now, from the Journey of Love Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild. Just doing circles and circles and plopping. She knows I'm busy. She knows I'm trying to do this. She's just being a little hateful. Because it's not like she doesn't get attention. Y'all don't let her and her theatrics fool you. She gets plenty of love and attention. She just thinks that it should never stop. Now from the Divine Circus Oracle deck for my Capricorn viewers and friends. Understand that the 3rd and 4th house is going to be getting a lot of focus here. The 3rd house is going to be where that solar eclipse in Pisces is going to be at the end of February. And it is also where Venus will be tiptoeing back into during her retrograde motion. That house of communication, short distance trips, siblings, cousins, and neighbors, and the neighborhood, and home and family, or roots and foundations. Okay, last but not least, the Butterfly Oracle cards for Life Changes by Doreen Virtue. For my Capricorn friends and viewers. Okay, that was like 6 cards that flew out of the deck. I'm going to take the card in the middle. It wasn't 6, it was 3. So I exaggerated, but yeah. Okay, Capricorn, what I'm going to do now is hit the pause button and flip these cards over, do the tarot math, and I'll be right back with your story. Hang tight, y'all. Hi, Capricorn. I'm back with your cards. So let's get started. I knew that was going to happen. Okay, the card that fell out of the hand or out of my hands while I was shuffling and speaking was the Star card reversed. Now the Star card is the 17th card of the Major Arcana. 1 plus 7 is 8, and that speaks to the 8th house that is ruled by Scorpio. That is the house of life, death, and rebirth. It's the cycle of transformation, regeneration, and metamorphosis. It can also speak to or highlight primal, basic, or human instincts. It can also speak to other people's money and sexuality. The Star card in itself is the card that is represented by the zodiac sign of Aquarius, and Aquarius's ruling planet is Uranus. Uranus is transiting through your 4th house right now. That's the house of home and family, or roots and foundation. So you take the energy of the 4th house and combine it with the 8th house. You throw in a little bit of that salt and pepper of the shock of the planet Uranus. There could be some Capricorns out there that are dealing with the shock, surprise of upheaval in the home through an 8th house manner, or if not that way, through the internet or through friends, memberships, groups, associations, and teams that one may belong to. Also future wishes, goals, and dreams. The Star card in itself in the upright means inspiration and happiness. In the reverse, it could indicate blockage or dissatisfaction or unhappiness. Be careful if you are using escapist-like tendencies. And I say that because Neptune is in the 3rd house, and that's the house of communication, short-distance trips, siblings, cousins, and neighbors. It could be that you are either distracted or not maintaining boundaries in traffic, or it could be that you are not maintaining boundaries in certain relationships, dealing with communication. It may not be you, it may be somebody else too. I'm not just directing it towards you. I'm really bad about flipping it on the other side and saying it could be somebody else, because it really depends on how it's playing out in your personal chart. This is a general reading. Be careful with the escapist-like tendencies, because this character does have 2 cups in their hands, and that does indicate for me an issue of needing balance in that area. Now, the underlying theme or overarching energy of the spread is the Ace of Wands. This is the spark, creation or assertion point of a situation, an energy, or a person. It could be involving a fire sign. This would be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. We've got that Leo full moon in the 8th house. I didn't even recognize that. The Leo full moon is in the 8th house, and that is today, where I am recording this today. So you may be dealing with some shocks or surprises in the 8th house area: life, death, rebirth, other people's money, sexuality, transformation, regeneration, metamorphosis. Didn't even see that. This Ace of Wands is, like I said, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. That Leo full moon in the 8th house is representative of the star. Star is Aquarius and is ruled by Uranus, so it could be involving something on the internet. The Ace of Wands, it's almost like putting a fire out. In one way or another, it's like it makes me think of like the torch. Oh, what did they call it? I wasn't a fan of the show, but on Survivor they would have the group meeting or whatever, and the tribe would vote, and the tribe has spoken, and they would extinguish the flame of the torch. It's that energy I get right here. It's like the torch has been extinguished in one way or another. It could just be that you're not feeling well. It could be that that whatever it is that comes up under this full moon lunar eclipse in the 8th house is something that really kind of takes you by surprise, and you may have it looks like it's coming out of nowhere because of this cloud right here. You may have been in the dark about a situation concerning an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Or it could be involving this full moon in Leo or the Venus retrograde in Aries. The first card that I pulled for you, representing the past, if you need a time frame, is the Ace of Cups. And this is the pouring out, it could be the overflowing of emotion. It could be the pouring out of emotion. It could be the spilling of emotion. It could be spilling tea. It could also be putting a lid on something, putting a cap on something. The cups represent water sign energy. The water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. That can be their sun, their moon, or their rising sign. But the way that the picture is displayed, this dove is trying to get in the cup, and the hand is holding the cup down. You may feel trapped. You may feel trapped by your emotions, trapped by an emotional situation or a relationship or your feelings in some way. You may feel like you have to keep your emotions under wraps or under cover, or that you're just not allowed to express your emotions in the way that you normally would. Because I see this almost as like tears that need to fall, but you're keeping it together for whatever reason. The cups are also known for, I think of them as the things that make you feel emotionally stable, emotionally fulfilled, and validated. The gooey center, what makes our cup runneth over, if you will. So that may give you a little bit more insight into what that is for you personally. Now the second card that I pulled for you, which represents the present energy, if you will, this is the Hierophant card. The Hierophant card is the 5th card of the Major Arcana, and that speaks to the Taurus ruled house, or no, that speaks to the Leo ruled house of the House of Sparks. Creation. It's the House of Sparks. It's the house of I also think of it as having your DNA and fingerprints all over it, because it's the house where you have the most skin in the game. It's where you go to blow off steam. It's your social life. It's your pleasure. It's where you go to have fun. It's where you go to fall in love. It's where you make your children. It's where you make your creations. It's where the artist makes his masterpiece or her masterpiece. It's a really social house. Now, this card in itself, and I mean, that's another link to synchronicity as well. This full moon in Leo being the ruler of the 5th house, it could be that, you know, you may be wanting to go out tonight. If you're watching this video the night that it's released and you're a Capricorn, you very well may be wanting to go out tonight. I don't know if I would recommend that. That's just me. If you can do what you want to do at home, I would prefer you do it at home. If my advice or my word has any weight in your world, that's how I would put it. This Hierophant card is dealing with determination. It's also speaking to dealing with authority figures, and authority figures can be people who are experts in their field, like a doctor, a professor, or a lawyer, but it's also authority figures like the law or the authorities in your world. The people you have to answer to. It is also searching for meaning in a possible spiritual or moral development kind of way. I see this as dealing with institutions as well, like higher learning, hospitals, possible jail. And Taurus is ruled by Venus. So whatever it is that's going on right now in the present is energy and situations that you will be revisiting throughout the Venus retrograde. And the fact that it's in the upright means that you're probably going to be approaching it from the appropriate standpoint. You aren't having any direct big astrological energy. What I mean by that is Jupiter and out. The personal planets are going to be moving around too much for this to be valid throughout the entirety of the Venus retrograde, so I just took the heavy hitters and used them instead. Now, the final card that you got, which represents the future, don't freak out, is the Tower card in reverse. This is the 16th card of the Major Arcana. 1 plus 6 is 7, and that speaks to that Libra ruled house of your partnerships, relationships, and how you identify who you are through those interactions with another person or through those individuals. It also deals with counseling and open enemies. This card represents the planet Mars. And Mars is a planet that is known for its energy, its impulse, its aggression. It's also an action-based energy. The Tower card represents a crisis point or a profound discovery. And it could be that there is a profound illumination that comes to you through these eclipses and this Venus retrograde that really brings forth this feeling like your world, like the Tower has come completely crashing down in and amongst your house of counseling, open enemies, and partnerships and relationships, and how you interact with other people. Once again, not having any direct 7th house energy, but it looks to me like, just by paying attention to the story that the cards are telling, it's like you are you're dealing with some difficult stuff. You've got a Pluto transit going on through your 1st house. Pluto is a difficult transit to deal with. Probably more difficult than any other. Saturn is pretty powerful as well, but Pluto's very transformational. And the kind of transformation that Pluto does, like I said earlier, is like that coastal erosion. It happens every day, but you don't realize it until you get a elevated perspective of it. It looks like there is some sort of situation that is brought up or illuminated to you that is dealing with something that makes you feel emotionally stable or validated or secure, and it may be an issue of the past that is coming back up that wasn't fully resolved. but it is turning your world once again upside down with the Tower being in reverse. It could feel like you're in free fall. And it could be dealing with a Libra or someone who has some Aries energy in them. Maybe both. It could be their sun, their moon, or their rising. I say Aries because the Tower card is representative of Mars, and Mars is the ruling planet of Aries. And I say Libra because Libra rules that 7th house. The majority background color of the Tower card is black, so I need to remind you that it's always darkest before dawn, and there is silver lining in the situation, but you are going to have to do the work to find it. If I were you, I would be very careful in my driving. I would be very careful in my driving and in my communication. There's going to be a lot of stuff illuminated for a lot of different Capricorns through this eclipse in Leo. It may happen tonight. It may be something that takes a few weeks or even a few months to show up, but eclipses have about a 6-month period of time to present themselves in our world. And they also deal with closures, endings, culminations, resolutions, and the feminine energy, so possible females. It could be somebody who is a Leo in your life. It could be someone who is a Scorpio in your life dealing with that closure as well, because those are different houses that are respective. The eclipse is in Leo, but it's occurring in the 8th house. The ruler of the 8th house is Scorpio. I hope I didn't confuse too many of you about that. Okay. So I did the math for this tarot spread, and it ended up being 38. 3 plus 8 is 11, and that speaks to that 11th house that's ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius's ruling planet is Uranus, and that is a major hitting planet, a long-term transit planet that is going through Aries right now. So you may be dealing with a possible shock to the head about something dealing with the 11th house. The 11th house is the house of the internet. It is the house of friends, groups, memberships, associations, and teams that you belong to. It also deals with your future wishes, goals, and dreams. Okay. So, from the Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle deck, I pulled for you the Selenite card, which deals with happiness, clarity, and peace. It can help heal and amplify the vibrations of the crown chakra, and it reads, Selenite is the great stone of happiness. It brings you clear vision, clairvoyance, and peace, and it connects you to the consciousness of your higher self. You've pulled this card because you need a dose of joy and a reminder to see the greater good of all beings. So meditate with Selenite to surround yourself with white light, tranquility, and high vibrations. The next card that I pulled for you is from the Journey of Love Oracle deck. It is by Elena Fairchild. The artwork is by an artist named Razuli, and the title of this card is The Blood Dance. 4 plus 2 is 6, and that speaks to the Virgo-ruled house of work and health or the competency and skills that you bring to the services that you provide, and also your daily life, your daily to-do list, and what you do to make your life easier on a day-to-day basis. Now you can see this as the solar eclipse or as the full moon lunar eclipse, however you choose, because there is no direct heavy-hitting energy going through that 6th house. It may be through your one of your other sign, your moon or your rising sign, Capricorn. So check those videos as well. This card indicates that you are connected to the divine source of love and light. It asks you to not feel lost or worried if you feel cut off from yourself or your emotions right now. It reminds you that you are never alone. This is an oracle of ebb and flow, and a reminder that cycles are a part of life, and honoring or acknowledging these cycles helps you to grow past the cycle that you're on and evolve to the next cycle of development. Sorry. The next card I pulled for you is from the Divine Circus Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild, and it's the 23rd card of the deck. It is Divine Disguise. 2 plus 3 is 5, and that speaks to that Leo-ruled house of the sparks and your fingerprints and DNA being all over that house, because it's where you have the skin in the game, or the most skin in the game. It's the spark of creation, the spark of love, and the spark of conception. It is where you go to blow off steam and have fun with your groups, the friends that you have, your social groups. It's also where you go to seek your pleasure. It is the house of your children, and it is the house of your creations. The Divine Disguise card is an oracle that indicates peace of mind is coming to you. You'll soon realize that the universe has your back, and you'll see the lessons and the blessings in your life as such, and react and treat them accordingly. Understand that everything is occurring according to divine order and is happening for your highest good. Growth hurts, and they don't call it growing pains for nothing. But growing is necessary to evolve. You will soon see just how loved and cared for you truly are in this life. And do not forget that sometimes some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. One final thing I want to say is we're quickly approaching the Mardi Gras season here in Louisiana, and I can't help but notice this particular card having a mask on that reminds me of Mardi Gras. So if you are in the Louisiana area or celebrating Mardi Gras somewhere across this globe, don't forget to yell out, "Throw me something, mister." Hope you get some beads. The final card that I pulled for you is from the Butterfly Oracle deck for Life Changes by Doreen Virtue. It is the Moving card. This card is an oracle of confirmation of a recent move or a move soon to come, meaning you may be inspired to start looking at homes because you are having Venus move through that 4th house, Capricorn, of home and family roots and foundations. This is also an indicator of a possible emotionally moving experience. And it is also the indicator of a need for more motion or movement in your life or world, either through dance or exercise as well, because it's not only good for your body, but it's also good to help release stress. And you need that, Capricorn. You're a very serious sign, and you need to be able to shake off that stress as much as possible. It's good for your health, and it's good for your longevity. I think that with Venus moving through this 4th house, you're definitely going to be paying a lot of attention to the things that you value in your home. That's your home, your family, your roots, and your foundations. Anything in that category, and I've spoke about it several times. So, Capricorn, that's what's going on for you for this Venus retrograde video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you already have, I thank you from the bottom of my very grateful heart. I hope that you are well. I will see you soon for the March videos, but before that happens, I have to finish this series first, and that means I have to stop yammering on this video and start the Aquarius video. So, take care of yourself, Capricorn. Be kind to yourself and save some of that kindness for others, because we're all going through private battles in our world that some of us may never speak about to another living soul. Don't forget to focus on yourself. Look for the reconnections and the renegotiations, and don't forget to ask, is this worth fighting for? And follow your gut. Do what you need to do. It's about reassessing your values, so take the time to do it. Don't waste your energy on the things that no longer serve you. Release them with love and gratitude. And with that, I will leave you now. Until next time, namaste, and bye, y'all.